crisis worse. Talking about Venezuela once again. Systemic important tanks. They removed the 1,000 called monetary awareness. All right, we are live for a Monday edition of the RTD News Wrap Up. Excited to be back. Looking forward to connecting as well as sharing with you some recent headlines that caught my attention. I know there's lots of stories we're touching on, so we'll definitely jump on some of those later this evening for the People's Talk Show at 9 p.m. But other than that, I hope everyone's doing well. I want to also welcome any first-time viewers to the community. Welcome to the Rethink of the Dollar Show. I just want to scan through some headlines real quick, share my 2 cents on some things, and let you guys chime in and share your thoughts as well later on when we connect live. So as always, appreciate everybody for hanging out with me. And before I move forward with some headlines, want to make sure I give everybody an opportunity to find out what's new, what's fresh, what's happening. So if you have not as of yet, make sure you click that subscribe button as well as notification bell. Hopefully you are informed. No promises though, just due to the algorithms, no guarantees here. But also want to encourage everybody to make sure you connect on all the alternative media platforms to stay plugged in and make sure you are able to continue to be a part of the community. And before I move forward, let's do a little maintenance on my side as well. Want to remind everybody, for those that are interested, let me get my screen up here together. All right, so for those that are new to the community, want to make sure everybody understands the importance of getting their weight up. And so excited to partner with Bullion Max on the opportunity of getting 5 ounces for your stack. If you're interested, link is in the description, as well as RTD Locals is where I will do more live streaming in the evenings. And it's a way to have uncensored back and forth, minus all the issues I face on YouTube. And of course, if you guys want to support the channel, I encourage you to do so via the RTD donate button beneath as well. So other than that, got all the articles, everything I've done over the last 8 years to help people realize what's going on from a monetary literacy standpoint. So if you're interested, if you're new, I definitely encourage you to check all this out and you'll get caught up to speed mighty quick as to what's really going on. So, all right, let me just jump into it. So appreciate everybody for hanging out with me. Won't be long as always. Just want to skim through the news. See some new names there. Appreciate you guys for hanging out with me. And let's jump right into it. So, more shenanigans out of DC. Nothing surprising whatsoever, but it's just amazing how they can say anything. And at this current moment, because the mainstream media and all the outlets are pretty much bought and paid for and on their side, they can come out with literally misinformation. And even the fact checkers, when you look up the fact checkers, they even back up some of the narratives given to us by the politicians as well as the mainstream media. So you really can't trust none of these sources whatsoever. So it's never been more imperative for everybody to further educate themselves and stay plugged in so that you can stay on top of what's being fed to you. Because if not, most people buy right into it, pay it no mind, and keep on moving. But with this current recession, and so we've been talking about it for quite some time now, and the economy never recovered. I mean, you take away the stimulus and all the PPP and all that other stuff that was injected into the economy over the last 2 years. You remove that, we were already trending negatively. The economy was already contracting well before the whole lockdown situation. So I think it's becoming more obvious now that policy has shifted, as well as the lack of liquidity in the system is really causing things to seize up. And it's, literally cutting the monetary spigot off is forcing a lot of sell-offs in a variety of sectors. Therefore, more information here, more graphs, more stats. Like the graph I got behind me here is just real telling of what's really going on. But yet, then again, they're trying to redefine what a recession is. And we're long past the point of a recession, in my personal opinion. But I'll just stick to, I'll be nice and keep it simple on the headlines here. But real quickly, let me just jump into some of these articles here. Let me pull it on the screen here. And so this is what caught my attention, because I've seen a lot of people, chiming in this on Twitter. Got a couple uploads as well. People, send me some stuff, but it has to do with, Yellen's Meet the Press to interview yesterday, where she basically contradicted herself in the very same sentence. So I'll play that in a moment. But just real quick, it says Yellen downplays U.S. recession risk as economic reports loom. And so outside of the official numbers being given in regards to the actual health of our economy, i.e. the GDP numbers, we were already given the forecast of what is expected, and they're already negative. And so everyone knows that. And so even she admitted that. But then again, she said if you look at things from a more broader perspective and take a more holistic approach towards looking at the health of the economy, we're not in a recession. And so I'll play that for you real quick, and then we'll get into some other things. So here, just check out her. Literally within the same 1 58-second clip, she flipped the script on herself, and even the reporter, clapped back at her a little bit. So check this out.
A common definition of recession is 2 negative quarters of GDP growth, or at least that's something that's been true in past recessions. When we've seen that, there has usually been a recession. And many economists expect second quarter GDP to be negative. First quarter GDP was negative. So we could see that happen, and that will be closely watched. But I do want to emphasize what a recession really means is a broad-based contraction in the economy. And even if that number is negative, we are not in a recession now. And I would, warn that we should be not characterizing that as a recession.
I understand that, but you're splitting hairs. I mean, if the technical definition is 2 quarters of contraction, you're saying that's not a recession?
That's not the
No?
That's not the technical definition.
So that's not the technical definition. So she just basically contradicted herself. But yet, in times of panic, when you're scrambling to try to keep the narrative going, you can say whatever you want to say. And once again, they move on to the next segue. But anyway, so that's just what's going on the surface. And so here's actually, let me share with you what they're referring to. Of course, most people here who are plugged in, what's really going on. But here is the forecast that was given. On July 19th, the GDP Now model nowcast of real GDP growth in Q2 is already negative 1.6. And so it's always subject to being readjusted. But just a preliminary forecast already put us in a negative. And then she started off by talking about 2 consecutive contracting, periods of the economy, typically speaking, has been a recession. But this time, it's not going to be that way. Okay. So, definitely full of hogwash, but we know what's going on. Keep it moving. And then what really caught my attention was a response by Michael Burry. That's the Big Short guy. And so I thought this headline was very interesting because he threw out a couple indicators that are incorporated in that broader viewpoint that Yellen wanted to mention. But it says the Big Short investor Michael Burry slams the White House for denying a recession is looming and sounds the alarm on inflation, credit card debt, and labor shortages. And so real quick, I'll spare you that, but you can do more research for yourself. But there was a couple things here that he mentioned that I thought was worth bringing to your attention. It says Burry attached a screenshot of a recent White House blog post. Let me zoom in some. A recent blog post to his tweet. It says the post asserted that a recession isn't simply 2 consecutive quarters of declining GDP. It's determined by a holistic analysis of real income, real spending, industrial production, and economic data. The White House went on to brush off the recession fears post. His view appears to be that Americans are racking up credit card debt to cover rising living costs, and unemployment is low because the economy has outgrown the natural workforce. And so Burry predicted, a variety of things, of which he's gotten a lot of popularity from in regards to the whole great financial crisis. But more of the article just gives details as to how it's hard to cover up and lie about their own definition that they want to redefine for this current environment we're in now to fit their own purposes. So more information there. But then here's another article that is definitely worth highlighting more of the economic woes that are out there. And so this is from Zero Hedge, but it says the economy is in shambles. November can't get here fast enough, as if like between now and November, politically speaking, there's going to be a major change in the policy in the future of our country. But yeah, anyway, it says here the Dallas Fed manufacturing outlook level of general business activity tumbled further in July, dropping to negative 22.6 from negative 17% and worse than expected. So this is the visual aid I got behind me now. So as you guys can see here, just a continual downward spiral. And you just remove this out here. This right here was an intentional anomaly there was a part of this whole pandemic, in my personal opinion. And so this is the catalyst that started everything we're experiencing now. This, to me, was the door opener for this 10-year Great Reset agenda that the globalist is trying to pull over on the world. And so you have to skip past these type of things here, like we did with me and Mario on Friday. You got to go back towards things that are more natural. When the credit cycles come to have some issues, and the economy naturally tanks on its own. So as you guys can see here, we're already in the great financial crises area, and it's only the second quarter. So I thought this was very interesting as well, because this is more of the holistic viewpoint of what's really going on. And then it just gives more details here as to just more indicators that new orders and inventories were the biggest driver of the further weakness, and the capex fell for the fourth straight month. And so they give some more of their thoughts here. And then it says that, let me see here, it's just one after another. It says in June, 41% of 85, referring to this, this particular index of 85 different indicators. It says 41% of the 85 made a positive contribution, while 44 made negative contributions. And then it says their production-related indicators weighed on this overall index in June. And it's just not limited to here in the U.S. Here is what's happening in China. It says, finally, we know that it could be worse. Here's Chinese consumer confidence. And so based upon all the information we're getting out of China, as we can see here, outside of this all-time high, as a result of the lockdowns in their area, here we have they're at all-time lows going back well into the early 90s. So we know that there's going to be some type of event coming out of there that will have a ripple effect that will reverberate throughout the world. So anyway, that's just what's happening on that side of town there, man. This is, it's just one thing after the next, it seems, but we're being lied to all the way around. And to keep it going, here is something that is of importance as well. It looks like there were some indictments delivered today, and it happens to be to what appears to be a lot of Republican candidates, as well as businessmen or whatnot. So we got former GOP rep Steve Byer indicted on federal insider trader charges. And then another one here says ex-U.S. congressman among 9 charged in insider trading cases. And so just goes to show that if you're not a part of the plan or not in the insiders group, i.e. like Pelosi and all those others on the Democratic side, your number might not get called when it comes time to you being called out for insider trading. And so we'll find out what happens with that. But once again, I think this is more of a political charades to try to make it appear as if like justice is being served amongst a certain group of politicians, but it will never be the full basket of politicians, i.e. both sides, Democratic and Republicans, because majority of our congressmen right now would probably be in on this as well. So, but this is just what's happening. And another story here. It looks like there was an attempt to go cashless, and it failed. And so it says AIB reverses plan to make 70 banks cashless following public unease. So this is over in Ireland. And it says Minister of Finance welcomes decision not to proceed with changes to customer service. And so it looks like, according to this bank here, they were going to attempt to close down and limit approximately 70 branches and not allow them to process cash anymore. And the people got wind of it, and they basically protested, and some of the shareholders of the bank, the retail bank, got involved and stopped it. But this is the type of thing that will begin to pick up even more. And the reason that they are trying to justify this is basically by throwing stats out there saying that in AIB's case, there are 2.9 million daily digital interactions compared to just 35,000 customer branch visits. So because people have been conditioned to swipe their card, as well as do all the instant payment apps and things like that connected to their bank accounts, not many people actually walk into the branches anymore to deposit checks or do anything of that nature. So they're basically saying that just due to the fact that there's not much use for brick and mortar business retail branches, we're no longer really processing that much cash. So why not just close down and limit some of the branches and save money on their part? But it says AIB has also seen a fall of almost 50% in branch over-the-counter transactions, while mobile and online payments have increased by 85% in the same time frame. So in the quest and the push to take everyone digital, all the brick and mortar stores as well as physical cash in of itself is not utilized enough to where that will be a reason why they justify continuing to close down more ATMs, continue to close down more local retail banks in your area, just because they're not being used as much. And that was always a part of the plan of taking us digital, of course. But yet here we are at that point to where it just happens to play into their agenda of ultimately going cashless right when the banking sector has its primary issues, which is coming up. And so, as I mentioned, several videos ago, the second half of this year, we will get more news as to the basically the dangers that the retail and commercial banks are going to experience as the economy continues to seize up on itself due to all the monetary and fiscal collision of things coming to a head. So this is what it is, man. It's just, more information out there to keep you plugged in. And one of the biggest takeaways, I think, from this information here is that the economy in a whole is not healthy whatsoever. There's no way they can spin this. But then again, even the information they're telling us is still they're still downplaying the severity of how bad things will be. Because even in Janet Yellen's little rant about prior recessions, there were 2 contracting quarters were typical, indicators we use for recessions, but not this time. And so basically they're trying to buy as much time as they can to prolong this thing for whatever reason, for whatever they're trying to hold off for. And it's my opinion that between now and the end of this year, some type of false flag, some type of event, some type of economic catastrophe that you cannot hide before they then come out with some type of alternative in the form of the CBDC and all the other things that go with that. But they're trying to buy time, so there will be no truth whatsoever coming from any real source, out there whatsoever. So it's never been more important for people to really take, I guess, extra precaution in the information you receive and going to do your own homework and do your own research. Everybody who's plugged in right now in this channel here are very wise and in tune to what's going on. And majority of your family and friends may not be that way. So I think it's imperative to try to help out others as best as you can, because ultimately you want to have as much of your financial future within this system as is being brought down. And that, of course, entails your banking, any type of future promises to pay. All that stuff is subject to force majeure, as we've been talking about for the last couple of weeks, just because all contracts won't be performing no time soon, because it's going to be a contagion event of all retail banks and insurance companies and anything to do with, with currency will definitely have some issues. So anyway, just want to check in for a quick minute, share with you some things that caught my attention. Of course, there's more stories out there. And I encourage you all to connect on the Discord and Telegram, share articles, share videos, keep us plugged in, because I end up grabbing a lot of those articles or whatnot from there and bringing it to the live streams to share with the entire community. So anyway, that's all she wrote for this little quick RTD news update. Hope everyone's doing well. If you've enjoyed this little quick glance through the headline surface of the news, hit that thumbs up button, share your support for the channel, and then come back tonight at 9. We'll touch on some more, and we'll love to actually hear from some people as to what's happening in your neck of the woods. And we can, once again, keep everybody plugged in, keep them informed, and help people, actually make the changes that they want to see in their own life right now while there's still time. So anyway, be blessed, be safe. I'll see you guys later. Peace.
The next recession.
Recession will be a recession.
We're going to hit a recession.
The date of the next recession.
A U.S.-only recession typically lasts 8 to 10 months.
A crash is coming. Now, whether it's 6 months from now, 12 months, 36 months, no one knows.
If you have the right plan to set up, you can make a lot of money from this.